Well, with a new team introduced and a new gold mine and new character dynamics, Legends of Tomorrow continues to embrace its genius as one of its most fun episodes yet. Season 2, Episode 2, The Justice Society of America, and I was definitely looking forward to this episode. I, for the most part, as you guys know, really enjoyed the premiere. I know that I am 3 weeks behind. Well, now 3 weeks, because I missed tonight's episode, but I know I'm 3 weeks behind with episodes, but I'm going to catch up right now, starting off with this episode, which definitely was the one out of the three that I was most looking forward to. I mean, the Justice Society of America, ever since we heard they were going to be on the show, I've been very fascinated by, what was going to happen with them, and I gotta say, they really did not disappoint. I thought this episode in general was just really a lot of fun. I really did enjoy this episode. Yes, the ending of this episode was really shocking, but apart from that really shocking ending, this was a really fun episode, and something I really will say is that really everyone had something to do. There was some great conflicts going on here. We met some great new characters in this episode, and just in general, I think by axing out some of the more irritating and dramatic characters and keeping in the ones that are fun, it makes for just a lot more entertaining of a show. But let's just get into this episode because I really did enjoy it overall. I thought there was some really great stuff going on here. But we start literally right where the last episode left off. We see the JSA is confronting the Legends. Haywood approaches Commander Steel, who's apparently his grandfather, and Haywood is becoming a really great character. I really like what they're doing with him, actually. I thought he was going to be, your typical, observer type character, but no, this guy's got a lot of charisma to him, more so than I think Rip ever had. Rip was kind of just a brooding father all last season who was very selfish and was kind of just complaining about the Legends every 5 seconds. Haywood, on the other hand, this guy's having fun. You can definitely tell. The guy who's playing Haywood's having so much fun with his role. Nick Zano's killing it, and I'm loving what we're getting with him. But he gets punched out for his trouble. Jax attempts to flirt with Stargirl, and Stein attempts to explain the mission, but both fail, and the JSA moves to arrest them. They're trying to explain that they met before, but there is a fight, but the Legends are quickly defeated. I love the way this fight was done. It was very quick, but I thought it was really cool. They're quickly defeated by the JSA, more organized and coordinated efforts, and it makes sense. I mean, the JSA have been around a lot longer than the Legends, and I like seeing this fight here, because this technically were the Legends back in the 40s, and the Legends are locked in a cell in the JSA headquarters. Now, Haywood, as usual, knows quite a lot about them, because, he's a historian, things like that, and the JSA watch from a monitor, joined by Rex Tyler, and Rex does not recognize them, or in spite of their claims to know him, so the JSA discusses throwing the Legends in either prison or a mental hospital, because they just don't trust them at all. They think they're crazy, and when the JSA go to talk to Legends, Commander Steel accuses Haywood of being a Nazi spy, and Haywood responds by rattling off the murder on Commander Steel's dog tags, which he wears himself, giving their time travel story some credibility. So the way that Haywood actually plays a big role in this, I think, is really benefiting the show. It's not just, oh, we gotta save someone with Haywood. Haywood does have, personal reasons for doing this, and I think that really is going with this. That really is making his character even more interesting than I thought he was going to be. So in Paris, also in 1942, the Reverse Flash meets with a Nazi who, as we know, Reverse Flash and Damien Dark are teaming up right now. It seems like these two are working together. No sign of Dark really in this episode, but Reverse Flash is out there. I mean, Reverse Flash is actually a main character this season, so Reverse Flash could possibly be the villain this season, which is amazing if they decide to go in that direction. I think that's exactly what the show needs to do. But he meets with a Nazi, Baron Krager, and the Reverse Flash is a serum that can give regular humans superpowers and wants to trade it for the Ascaron amulet, a powerful artifact in Hitler's collection. He hands over a small symbol of the serum as a sign of good faith, and I thought that with this setup, I just thought overall was very interesting. Basically that, he wants this powerful artifact, and the JSA take the Legends into a conference room. Rex assumes that Stein is their leader because, how old he is and how resourceful he looks. He just assumes that he's their leader. And even though Sarah tried to talk to him, the JSA are surprised that the team had a thief and assassin among them. They thought that this was a very well unified team, and as we know, they're not. I mean, these are criminals, some of them, and they're not now, obviously, but they're former criminals, and the legends try to explain about the warning that future Rex gave them, and we finally get to see what happened at the end of season 1, which I really did like seeing. I mean, I was a bit thrown off last week when they didn't show it to us, so I like that we finally saw it here. The legends meet Rex Tyler. At first, they don't really know if they can trust him. They don't know why he's there. Rex warned them to never come to 1942 because they would all die if they did. So then he vanished, and it makes sense why they want to do whatever they can to get out of 1942. I mean, obviously they're worried that they're all going to die. Now, Rex obviously does not believe their story because this is not the same Rex from 2016. This is the Rex in the 40s. So they're interrupted by a phone call from President Roosevelt. Haywood takes advantage of the lull in the interrogation to talk to Commander Steele, but his grandfather is not interested in forging a bond with the son of the child he's never even fathered yet. He's not interested in that because this isn't that this isn't someone that he has any connection to, and it's sad to see, but again, I like how personal a mission this really did end up being for Haywood, and it wasn't really a selfish thing either. He just kind of found himself in that situation. I like that, and I like when the show does that. I like when the show uses like ancestors or something in their past they're not proud of. The show actually does that really well, and that's a really good example of the way the show does that, but I really enjoyed that. Rexon explains that the president's call was about Krieger, who's in Paris, and Ray offers the legends help. They're turned down and because they just don't need them, and the JSA plans to go to Paris with Vixen out ahead to scout, and the legends are sent away because they're just kind of outnumbered. And on the wave ride, the legends discuss the need for a leader. A really good scene. I really did like the scene overall with them not knowing who to pick, and they talk about how organized, the JSA are, but they can't just even decide over who's gonna cook breakfast. I thought was pretty funny. But Stein argues it should be him, mainly because they appointed him, and Sarah agrees before anyone can fight about it. So Stein is the new leader. I like the way this is going, and that really just set up, I think, the rest of the episode overall. So Sarah then finds Haywood at pictures of Commander Steele in the library, and his grandfather is not at all who Haywood expected. He thought that his grandfather was going to be, a nicer man. He doesn't think he was going to be as bold and pompous, and Sarah starts to explain that they're going to take Haywood home, but to his chagrin, they stop when the dog tags that Haywood has worn since childhood are missing, and Sarah theorizes that history changed, and the tags have therefore vanished. So the JSA are all going to die, it means, tomorrow. So they now need to get these dog tags back. And Haywood then shows the team what Krieger ends up looking like, and he talks about how if they find Krieger, then they can make sure, then they can protect the JSA. And Stein then comes up with this really, honestly, brilliant plan. I thought this was actually really cool, to infiltrate a cabaret where he's going to be. Stein apparently looks very similar to Max Lorenz, who is actually Hitler's favorite singer, so that will be his disguise. Kind of like this, lounge singer and everything that Hitler was a big fan of, and I thought it was really cool to see that, actually, the way that this was done. It could have been really silly, but it actually worked really well. I think again, it was a lot of fun, and I think it worked pretty well here. But Jackson confronts Stein about claiming leadership, pointing out the older man might not be the best one to lead them into war. Because I get what he's saying. I really do get where Jackson's coming from. That even though he does know what he's talking about, at the same time he's old, he could die, he's just not as experienced, things like that. And Stein actually does kind of agree with him here. Stein argues, he walks away, and even though Stein is arguing, I think he knows where he's coming from, and I like the dynamic between these two overall, and the thing I like the most about Jackson and Stein this season is just they're a lot closer, and it's not any, sort of destructive argument. It's very constructive and very, calm. You definitely do see that. So Sarah goes to talk to Haywood and sees that he has a nasty bruise, which Haywood says is from when Commander Steele punched him. So she offers him a pill that will translate for him, but he admits to being fluent in 6 languages and actually not needing it. He does, however, want a gun. So definitely you see that their dynamic is really going a certain way. And it very much is reminding me of what Sarah and Len had last season. They're definitely trying to do that with her and Haywood, and I'm all for it. I really do believe that. I mean, not yet, obviously, but I like the interaction that these two have. But at the cabaret, Stein successfully passes himself off as Lorenz, with most of the team as his guest, except Mick, who is a waiter. And Ray sees Vixen, or Amaya, whatever you want to call her, dancing with a man. Cuts in, she's not happy to see him there. Ray fills her in and brings her to the team, who then are suddenly confronted by a Nazi general who does not believe that Stein is Lorenz because he's too short. The general insists that Lorenz sing, and I thought Stein covered himself really well there with him saying, no, I just have a really booming voice, you don't understand. And he also makes a racist comment to Jax, who has to be restrained, which I'm not going to repeat, but it was definitely, for the time period, I mean, it made sense. It definitely was very far. You definitely get it. But it was something along the lines of no blacks allowed or something like that. You can see the look in Jack's face there. But Stein then takes the stage and not knowing what to sing, he actually sings Edelweiss from The Sound of Music, but it was a really well done scene. I mean, they're using Victor Garber really well. Victor Garber is a very professionally trained singer. He's been in many Broadway shows, and the way they actually use this to their advantage, I really liked. I'm hearing rumors that there might be a Legends Tomorrow thrown in there on the Flash Supergirl musical crossover, and I definitely could see them doing that with Stein, because he definitely seems like the one for that. But the team's impressed with his voice, so is the general, who's moved to tears, and I like that he was actually able to convince them, and this actually went well. One of the problems last season is that they were always losing, so I like this season, things seem to be going a lot more in their direction. It's mainly because of how closer the team really is. So Haywood spots Krieger, hears him arrange the trade for the amulet. Meanwhile, the general and all the other Nazis around them salute Hitler. The general notices that Ray does not salute him. So the general orders Ray to salute, but Ray is unable to bring himself to it. He punches the general instead, causing this whole mass bar fight. Honestly, a pretty sick scene, I'm not going to lie. The fight ends when the rest of the JSA show up and save the day, and I like the way they were able to get the JSA there. They're brought onto the Wave Rider, and the situation's explained, including the fact that Haywood's life is also in the balance. If Commander Steel is killed more than a decade before his son is born, Haywood obviously will never exist. So Haywood's kind of fucked, and the JSA and Legends vote to work together. So you do have a Back to the Future-esque situation going on, but it's like fun. I thought it was fun the way they did that. So in the library, Rex, Vixen, Sarah, and Stein start to research the Ascarin amulets, and Stein proposes a cautious plan while Rex and Sarah vote for action. So Sarah finds Haywood, whose arm is bleeding from a wound he got in the bar fight. He tries to brush it aside, but she realizes that he's actually a hemophiliac. His blood does not clot, and one bad wound could easily kill him. So this is very interesting we found this out. I like that Haywood has this struggle. I think it really does give him something interesting. And the fact that anything can happen to him since his blood can't clot, it's a lot more serious. I knew someone like that once. I can't remember who it was, but it can happen. It definitely is something that happens, and Nate argues that his parents practically locked him in the house his whole childhood for that very reason, but it's his decision whether or not to face danger. So Sarah argues wanting to protect him. Obviously, this is very risky. I mean, anything happens to him, he could bleed out, and it could be really bad, and he could lose tons of blood because he can't clot. And Amaya then sees Ray working on his suit and talks to him about, since he has no powers, only what the suit can do, she does not believe that he's a hero, and this really hurts Ray. As we know, Ray last season was so set on, I want to be a hero. I don't feel like a hero, I want to be like a hero. He feels like a hero. She, however, does not really see him as a hero because he's kind of lost his powers, and I thought that was interesting to see, honestly. The way that she's kind of challenging him and showing him, look, dude, you're not really a hero, is overall really interesting. It's kind of just this interesting dynamic that we didn't really have last season. I really do like that. Ray, I feel like, was caught up in this ridiculous love triangle last year. They didn't really give him a really good storyline, but this season they're really making up for that, and you definitely see that. So they find the convoy with the Askren amulet in a forest. The majority of both teams go to stop them. Mick stops the convoy with some well-placed fire, and the fight is on. Krieger runs, and both Vixen and Ray give chase. Stein, Jax, and Haywood watch from the ship. Stein orders them back to the convoy, reasoning that the amulet is more important than Krieger, and just about everyone argues with him, but Stein keeps insisting. And meanwhile, Krieger takes some of the Reverse Flash's serum. He morphs into a large Hulk-like creature. Suddenly, Ray and Vixen are silent, and the JSA and Legends recover the amulet, but they're attacked by Krieger. Stein is too flustered to think, so Sarah gives the order to retreat. However, they're forced to leave Ray and Vixen behind, and they're captured by Nazis. So Krieger, back to his normal size, discusses his plans with Ray and Vixen. He wants to replicate the serum to make an army of super soldiers. When he threatens Vixen, Ray offers to help both improve the serum and replicate to save her life. So Stein has no idea really what to do next from here, and I like that he didn't know. I like that he was definitely at a crossroads, and Jack confronts him again. This time, Stein agrees. He's overwhelmed, he knows he's not the right leader for their mission, and he just can't be the leader here. So it's not that he's a bad leader, he just doesn't really know what to do here. He's not the right man for it. So Haywood finds Commander Steele, who admits that he's afraid to get close to his grandson. He thinks that people who admire him tend to play the hero and get themselves killed, and Haywood admits to having been overprotective his whole life, when all he ever wanted was to be a soldier like his grandfather. He can't really do that, though, because of his condition, and Commander Steele encourages him to be himself, reminds him that he doesn't have to be a soldier to be a hero, and just a really well done scene, because, you can tell that Haywood, he's not exactly happy with the way his life turned out, but I like the way that Commander Steele is telling him, look, you are a hero, you don't have to really be a soldier, though, you can be a hero in other ways, and I'm interested in seeing really where Haywood's going to go. I definitely like where we're headed with him. Sarah and Rex then try to form a plan to bomb the Nazi stronghold while Stein listens. Rex is more than willing to sacrifice Ray and Vixen for the greater good, and Sarah knows that Ray has some kind of plan and wants to help them escape first. She just doesn't know what it is. Rex tries to ignore her, but Stein speaks up, passes leadership over to Sarah, realizing that she could be the proper leader, and that makes sense for the voiceover at the beginning when it was the, introducing the team. It was Sarah that introduced, and now we know why. So I like that Sarah is now the leader. Definitely a different dynamic there, but I'm looking forward to seeing where that's going to go. And it definitely gives Sarah more of a role. I mean, a lot of people said Sarah doesn't have much to do, and they're not really giving her that much of a storyline. So this gives her stuff to do, and I like that. But Ray then works in the serum. Krieger threatens Vixen to encourage him. She spits on him. Krieger leaves 2 guards to watch them while he cleans up. Ray knocks 1 guard out with the microscope he was using while Vixen takes out the other. The Nazis have her amulet, but she is still a skilled fighter. Plus, Ray holds onto the dose of serum that he was working on. The rescue plan is on as Firestorm, Heatwave, and White Canary enter the stronghold. White Canary finds Vixen's amulet. They quickly catch up to Ray and Vixen, and Krieger's taking another dose of serum. He attacks the JSA members fighting outside. He chases after Commander Steele, who runs, but he's not fast enough, and Haywood shows up in a motorcycle with a sidecar. Commander Steele jumps in. They race to escape Krieger. They get out of the blast zone from the upcoming bombs. Was this a little silly? Yeah, but I think it worked for the most part. The bombs fail, killing Krieger, destroying the stronghold. One lands way too close to the motorcycle, and both Haywood and Commander Steele are actually injured. And I like this. I like that there was a consequence here. They actually got killed. Not killed, but they actually were injured here. And Haywood's then in the med bay, but the Wave Rider cannot heal him due to his hemophilia, and he's dying from internal bleeding that will not clot, we find out. So Ray suddenly remembers the serum he modified and stole. He injects it into Nate, it works, and Haywood's life is saved, it seems. So it seems like things are going to be okay there. But Vixen then apologized to Ray, giving up the serum. His one chance at real superpowers was pretty damn heroic, and Commander Steele visits with Haywood, and they bond. Haywood's version of the dog tags return, meaning they fixed history, and Commander Steele then calls Haywood a hero, and you can see that things are going in his direction, which I like. But then we get to the ending, which the ending of this episode was definitely pretty shocking. Back at JSA headquarters, Rex stores the Askren amulet. Suddenly, the Reverse Flash shows he's the reason that Rex actually went to 2016 to keep the Legends away from 1942. The Reverse Flash vibrates into Rex's chest. He steals the amulet. Vixen enters, finds Rex on the floor. He manages to say time traveled at her before dying in her arms. Vixen is devastated, and he's dead. And that is how the episode ends. Definitely a very shocking way of ending. But let's get into this episode and where I think the show is going to go overall. Now, I know this episode is 2 weeks old, so my predictions are kind of irrelevant right now because you guys know where the show went. I don't know where the show went, but I really enjoyed this episode overall. I thought there was some really interesting dynamics going on in this episode. I am all for where they're going with Nate dying. I mean, not Nate, I'm with Rex Tyler dying. I get why they had to kill him off. One, he's not a main character, and I was surprised because I thought he was going to be main character, but he's not. He's not a main character. He's not even a recurring character. You know, he was the reason that they were drawn to this world, and now they have to continue without him. And Vixen's sticking around. Haywood's obviously sticking around. He's our main character this season. But basically the rest of the team isn't really I don't know if the rest of JSA is sticking around, but it does open up more for the JSA to do. Now that, you know, Rex is gone, you get the sense that JSA isn't going to be as strong, and I'm looking forward to seeing really how they're going to tie into the story, because I think that definitely is going to be very interesting. Amaya or Vixen joining the team, I'm really looking forward to seeing where they're going to go with their character. The way that she's really trying to motivate Ray and tell him to be a real hero and that he doesn't need these powers is just this really interesting storyline. I'm looking forward to seeing where that's going to go. I'm just hoping this is a lot more compelling than whatever the hell last year was with Ray and, I can't even remember her name because that's how bad of a character she was, honestly. I can't even remember her name because she just wasn't that memorable of a character. But I'm already liking what I'm seeing in Vixen. I know this wasn't the Vixen from Arrow, but this is her grandmother, I believe. But I like what we saw of her here. I thought it was a lot of fun to watch, and I definitely like that. I like where we're headed with Haywood. I like that Haywood, one, has this condition, but at the same time is also rising above it. He's not letting this condition get him down. You know, even though he has this condition, he's finding ways to still be a hero, and he honestly does feel like an integral part of the team. Rip last season never felt like a part of the team. He always felt like the one that was reprimanding them. He seemed like that parent in the car that always told him what to do, and, oh, here's what you can do, here are your do's and don'ts. That's what he seemed like to me. He seemed like he was more of a mentor, and Haywood seems like he's just as much a part of the team. He's not at all a mentor. He's just someone who's investigating them and simultaneously is helping them out, which I think works a lot better than what they did with Rip last season. And there's no sign that Rip is possibly coming back. I think he's probably going to come back halfway through the season, but right now I'm glad that he's not there. I don't really think we need him, honestly. He's fine where he is. I get why Sarah had to be the leader. Was this the right decision to make? I don't really know. Sarah, I think, isn't necessarily inexperienced, but as we know, she's not the most rational right now. You know, she's not over Laurel's death. She's still dealing with that. But I do like the way that her and Haywood are bonding. You definitely do get the sense there's going to be a romance between those two at some point, which I definitely am all for. I know they always had the joke of, oh, she's sleeping with this woman, but I like that they might actually go there with Haywood and, you know, Sarah this season, because they did that with her and Len, and I really enjoyed that. So we're going to have to see where that's going to go. Mick doesn't really have anything that substantial to do in this episode. I will say that he was the one that really didn't have a ton to do here. But he was still great for what he had. I did really like his stuff. And I like the conflict between Jax and Stein. You know, Jax was actually able to convince Stein. Stein actually listened to him. Stein realized he really wasn't, you know, fit for this mission. And I like that. I thought it would just, that stuff like that in general, it shows that the show isn't as concerned as creating all these dramatic conflicts. It's a lot more interested in just being fun and letting us enjoy it. And I think that's something they're doing very well this season. I'm looking forward to seeing where they're going to go. Where they're headed next, I have no idea. We'll have to see where they're headed next. But I like the way that they were able to fix history, and I like the bond between Commander Steele and Haywood overall. Just overall, guys, I'm definitely really enjoying the season. I think they're doing a lot more interesting stuff with this season that I'm definitely really enjoying. But that's my review. Hope you all enjoyed. Let me know what you guys thought of this episode overall. Love your thoughts on it. We'll see you guys in my next, which will be for episode 3 of Legends Tomorrow, and I'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.